All right. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome. I have a whole bunch of new stuff today. For the first time ever, got two guests. And just to make it easier for everyone, I made sure that they had the exact same name so that we can't even tell them apart. So I've got David McDarby, infamous designer of the Live the Dream Cube and WotC employee. And I've also got D. White, or David White, infamous co-designer of the Live the Dream Cube and employee of I don't actually know. We'll find out later. Welcome both. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me today. How you guys doing?
Good, real good.
Wonderful. Happy Thanksgiving Eve to you,
Yeah,
JJ.
and thank you, and to you as well. And let's...
Is my camera
Yeah,
frozen?
you look a little frozen. Hang on,
Okay.
I think that's on my end, so I'm gonna...
Yeah, 'cause it looks like it was when I first started it.
Let's see if I can refresh that. Yep, there we go. It was an OBS thing, because in Discord you looked fine. Handsome as ever.
There we go.
Roguish. All right, so we have a couple cool things on the docket for today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Live the Dream Cube. On the one hand, I feel like we must have kicked that dead horse a lot because there was a ton of hype around it, and well deserved. But I didn't get to gush about it with you guys, so I'm going to take advantage of my opportunity to do that. And then we are also going to get into a little bit of actual drafting here. We're going to grid draft my creature cube and let you two play that out.
A formal battle of
Yeah,
Davids.
Formal battle.
I can't wait to
exactly.
see which David raised supreme. I've heard a lot about this cube, JJ, and I'm excited to just play a card. It's basically the Legion set, but in the
Yeah.
cube world, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, that's the idea. It started out basically as this two-player cube because I've got one person I play with a lot, and my son plays, so I wanted something that we can just do a quick, easy draft with. And drafting like a 540 with two people can be really frustrating at times. So when I started designing it, I was like, well, what's my favorite kind of like archetype? What's my favorite thing to do? And that's spells with legs. I just every deck ends up morphing eventually into, a bunch of ravenous chupacabras, basically. So I kind of went in that direction as for the whole cube, and I thought, well, it may not have a lot of replay value, but we'll give it a try. And it's turned out to be very popular with most of the people who've played it, and I absolutely enjoy it. So it's kind of turned into my main cube, my main way of playing Magic these
Your
days.
signature expression of magic.
It's my piece de resistance. So
And also the bonus of getting to watch other people play it. It's always
yeah, I mean that's
very exciting.
that's kind of the thing we originally were joking about, but it truly is one of the joys of Cube is, just sitting back and seeing what other, like, I'm very excited to see, like I know a little bit about your two like style from when you were talking about your Cube. So I'm like, I always love seeing what other people get into because, like I was just doing an update today on the Cube and I'm looking at cards. I'm like, oh, I can't cut that. And I'm like, wait, like I know I love it, but like, is it actually good? So like seeing what you all pick and pass is going to be incredibly helpful to me.
Nice, yeah, happy to help.
Oh yeah. So let's talk a little bit about this Live the Dream Cube. I said last week, or I guess it was a couple weeks ago now. This is definitely like at a minimum top 3 in my list of if I hit the lottery cubes, I would just snap by. Like I would just go straight to TCG Player and start ordering cards for this because it's some of the most fun that I've had since I started streaming. And the first like feature cube that I played on stream was Dakaro's cube, followed rapidly by the Cultic cube, and I've played most of the other ones since. And this is just the kind of stuff I want to do in Magic. So I'm a big fan of the Live the Dream cube. So my understanding is that the cube was meant to be encapsulate the feel of EDH, but obviously without getting into, like, people make EDH cubes, right?
Yeah.
What like as far as kind of finding the middle ground between, again, people actually design like EDH cubes where you draft a commander or you pick a commander and draft around it or whatever. Did you take any inspiration from that kind of concept in building this, or was this more just like getting into big magic?
Well, I knew that I wanted to make a cube for the Magic Online cube spotlight. So whatever cube I was to make, it had to fill that role. At least 540 cards, no special, draft a commander, which is really sweet. Those are really fun to do. But
Right.
it's gonna have to be classic 15 cards. It
Sure.
doesn't have to be singleton. But
Okay.
it usually is. It depends on your definition. And so we wanted to make sure whatever we crafted would give the right experience for that expression of cube.
Okay. I
And
dig that.
and to add to that, I think a lot from where we ended up with was kind of learning. So I don't know about McDarby, but I tried to make a EDH cube, complete with draft the commanders, draft the cards, and it really, in testing and playing, it was more fun to draft than it was to actually play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And half the time people were just like, "Well, I'd rather just play my EDH deck," you know.
Right. Right.
So I think we did the best we could with trying to capture the interaction and the story of an EDH game in a playable cube format. I think our biggest goal was just replayability,
Yep.
having so many different things you can find and do. I think we did a good job of achieving that.
100%. 100%. Yeah, I mean, I streamed it twice, and I think I played one off stream just because I had time to, and that was definitely not enough. Um, it was a good start, but I could have gone a lot more times if I'd had the time. So I know you've answered this a little bit, but just like real quick, favorite either cards or archetype or kind of thing to do in this cube specifically? Like, what's the thing that you found that if you could just draft it like 10 times in a row, you'd do it?
I'll answer for D White, but for D White, I think Mirror March, I think is where
Yes.
he's at.
Yes.
Yeah,
That
we can go ahead.
actually, I had figured that one out.
And then what's your answer for me?
Um,
Because I don't know what my
Man.
answer would be.
I think any blue red combination.
Yeah, well,
respect that.
yeah, I have all the data from Midgo working on the Magic Online
nice.
team in parts.
Yep.
Comes with a certain event, and we give the data out to other people anyway.
Right.
But blue red and blue white were the two most highest performing archetypes.
Okay.
So blue red was pretty good. When you cheat on lots of mana, sometimes that beats up people who are just trying to play
Yep.
Gravediggers and such, like green black was.
Yep. I wrapped up my first on stream draft was green white, and it was like insanely open. I think just because so many people are accustomed to white, and then followed by green or at least Selesnya being bad in cube. And I got this sweet little token deck together and just, I mean, waltzed through a 2-1 pretty handily.
Yep.
And like Doomed Artisan was doing work, and I was like, I don't know what's happening, but I think I'm into it. Like this, I could do this.
Yeah, I remember watching that match. You had Doom Artisan and
my
of course
God.
Palace Jailer, the best performing white card in the cube.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, I think
it was a good time.
Another great thing was just getting to use cards that people have never played with before.
Yeah.
Maybe you didn't realize, this is a good card, maybe even possibly in a higher power style cube. So getting to showcase those cards are pretty exciting. I know McDarby came with a list of cards he definitely wanted people to see and play with. A lot of them from Commander, but
Sure.
I think they fit in pretty well.
What were some cards on that list, or whether they were on the list or not, that you thought maybe weren't going to quite cut it, but you gave it a shot and it turned out it was like, yep, no, this works. Was there anything like that?
Go ahead.
I don't remember Pyromancer's Goggles wasn't the initial card for blue red, but maybe 5 mana rock, maybe they just shatter it, move on with your life, and you're down 5 mana, loss of tempo. But in this cube, since we basically did not have the theater of aggro at all in the cube, that let a lot of traditionally dirtily cards actually be much more powerful.
Yeah.
So if you got to untap with your 5 mana rock, you just cast 2 crazy red spells, or ultimatums as they were,
Right.
and just go crazy with it. So that surprised me a lot, just how
Awesome.
strong cards like that were.
Kind of another rock that I had never seen before was the 4 mana one that every time you
Empowered auto
tapped it.
generator.
Yes.
Yep.
And I saw watching a lot of streams, I think a lot of people quickly realize how insane that card gets.
Mm.
the longer
Yep.
it stays on the battlefield.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's really easy because I did this too, where you look at this and you're like 4 mana, like even in a slower cube, turn 4, turn 5, you got to start taking yourself a little seriously. A lot of times, and like my cube's slow, but like turn 4, turn 5, you're gonna start doing real things, pretty much always. Famously, when I made a video about it, someone kept a hand with 4 lands and a Glorybringer, and they won that game. The but something like this, I could see thinking you're not going to get there, but for sure this cube allowed you the time to make this work, and importantly gave you the resources to build a deck that let you get there. Like my final deck, I can't remember what I started in. I think it was Demir, but it might have been Izzet, and I ended up in Grixis because Nikki B came around, and I was like, well, that's a sign. Like, that's a sign right there. And I ended up with like Amanatu's Augury and Urza and the Gin of Wishes, and I was like how am I going to make this deck work? Like, this seems insane, but having things like Sower of Temptation and other kind of like 2-for-1 cards in that 3, 4, or 5 mana range really let you stretch out into the late game. Where again, a card like this just gets absolutely out of control, very quickly.
Yeah, the secret sauce with this card is actually, people would say, why not Gilded Lotus? That's the traditional big mana rock for cubes.
Right.
Well, I actually started with Gilded Lotus because this is a big mana cube, but we wanted to make sure the mana rocks could help 5-color. We pushed really hard for 5-color to be a theme in this cube, because in most cubes you just can't, because people are playing Savannah Lions.
Yep.
But I wanted to rocks to help 5-color, and turns out a lot of the 5-color cards are 5 mana. So your mana rock at the turn when you want to be casting your payoffs,
right,
it's not it's fighting for that. So I was on C19, which is where Empower Generator was designed. I didn't design it. I think Glenn Jones helped make it. Mana rocks are really tricky to make because they can't be useless, but they can't be the best, and it's
Sure.
so hard. Mana rocks show most often how since we don't have like 3.5 mana or 4.5 mana, it's really hard to make a rock. So we put that in there, but because blue and red wanted the mana rocks the most, I wanted to make sure that it had the tools to combo off with a card like this. So we have cards like Vizier, the Tumbling Sands, Raul Zarek, Kiora, 3 mana hybrid Kiora, I can't think of her name. So cards like that lets you combo off and really push the ceiling of what a mana rock can be.
Okay. All right. That's a really interesting, design, nuance that I love getting into that, because like you don't think of that until you kind of get into the bread and butter of like making this cube, play testing it, and then you start seeing like, oh, this 5-mana rock looks good, until, like you said, it's competing with all these other 5-mana 5-color cards. That you're right. I mean, stuff like Niv Mizzet, come down at Wooburg, and you want to be able to do that on turn 5 if you can. That's super interesting. So since you have some access to the data, and I'm pretty curious, what kind of like, how did 5-color or even 4-color, if how did that do in the cube? Was that as popular as you expected? Did it show as much as it maybe could have?
Yeah, I mean, the 4 colors has 5 colors, they kind of all blend together, because generally you're 3 colors with a splash, or,
Sure.
all 5 colors. They didn't do as good as I would have liked, but they definitely did well enough to just make sure that that theme is playable, it's still around, and a lot of times this stream, we designed to not only be fun to play, but be fun to watch, so like streaming or what have you.
Yes.
And when somebody is playing, Niv Mizzet or Coalition Victory, that's just really fun to watch. And
Absolutely.
sometimes, you take a stipulation on or a challenge, like, we're forcing 5-color, baby, let's do this. And it's just fun to play. Even if you go 2-1 or what have you, you still had a good time. And, having fun is more important than winning, but making sure the winning strategy is the fun strategy is also a challenge you want to make sure that you can try to do if you can make it happen.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that's kind of one of the areas where, I'm not always as interested in aggro, just because I think it can be fun to play for sure. Obviously people like it, but I don't think it's nearly as interesting to watch, especially the 4th, 5th time that you're seeing it. So I like seeing, again, cubes like this, or cubes that at least allow the opportunity to get away with some stuff, and get out into that late game.
And you had the term pet card. Well, I think I could call this my pet cube, just because this is exactly how any cube I usually go into, I want to win, of course.
Yep.
But I want to have the most fun trying to win
Yep.
more than anything. So
Yep.
I'm probably going to try to do the most over the top, unconventional way uh, to win. And I think this is how we got here. And yeah, like I said, Pet Cube.
This lets all 8 players do that at the same time versus, I think in a lot of cubes, especially a more powered environment or higher powered, unpowered environment, you might have 1 or 2 opportunities to like do that reanimate Gristlebrand on 2 type deal, but someone's on aggro, someone's on more of a mid-range thing, and this really lets a lot of or all of the players kind of get into that realm.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned reanimating Grizzlebrand on turn 2. We actually try to stay pretty far away from stuff that early in the game.
Yep.
Because it doesn't let your opponent get your defenses up. So if you're just like turn 1 entomb, turn 2 animate dead, like
Yep.
the opponent doesn't get to play. So one big thing with this game was try to decrease the number of field bads and decrease the number of non-games you get from just busted like combos in the game. Yeah, so like it's like reanimation is really interesting because you have reanimate at 1 mana, animate dead at 2 mana, dance to the dead. Nobody knows how it works, and then you have necromancy at 3, and then like you have a couple at 4, but really at 5 is when things start hitting around.
Yeah.
So the finding the right reanimation targets is just tricky.
What I've found really, because I've actually spent kind of a lot of time on that. I'm trying to get in my cube reanimate to be a little bit more of a thing. When you're limited to creatures, obviously that automatically nerfs the power level a little bit because like you said, you lose out on stuff like necromancy, dance, all those cheap ones. But what's kind of weird about that is it's like a bunch of levers, right? Because you have to you have to have a target first of all. So if your best target, and this is a problem that peasant cubes have, if your best target is Palaka Worm, letting them reanimate that a little earlier isn't so bad because that's quite a different card than Gristlebrand, right? It's still scary, but it's a different thing. But then you also have how fast can you reanimate it and how fast can you get it into the yard, right? Stitcher's Supplier lets you get multiple cards into the yard on turn 1, but you don't know what they're going to be. Whereas something like Entomb lets you do it, turn 1, the card that you want, right? So personally, I found I don't mind powerful or cheap reanimate spells. I like slowing down your ability to get them where you need them because it adds a little bit of variance, but it also makes sure, like you said, that in most cases you're not going to get that turn 2, turn 3 Gristlebrand or Palaka Worm or whatever it's going to be because you just can't get it in the yard fast enough. If your best option for that is like Gravebreaker Lamia, it's going to take you some time to set up and you're going to need a real deck, built around it. So that's interesting. Any other surprises? I'm pretty curious about the data, and I know if John of Cultic Cube is tuned in, he's going to be as well. Any other surprises in the data as far as like stuff that over or underperformed or showed up that you didn't expect, or vice versa?
Let's see. Blue white. Basically, all of the black decks did not do so great. Black. So most of the colors I can tune to be strong or not. Blue I generally had to bring down. White I had to bring up.
Yep.
But black has, do you want Thoughtseize or do you want Divest? Do you want Reanimate or do you want Blood for Bones or what have you?
Right.
And I think I landed a little lower on black than where I would have liked for it to have been.
Okay.
And also the second, so blue white was the most highest performing deck, also the most drafted deck. People figured out that blue was strong, and Sarah, Benevolent, and Palace Jailer were good. But the second most performing deck was mono red, but it was very little drafted. A mono red color, a mono color deck in a cube built around 5 colors isn't very common. But sometimes you just play mountains and burn them up.
Yep. Yeah, there's a decent. I mean, you've got Bolt and a Braid. You've got a decent bit of Chain Lightning. Gosh, I feel like I played against something that either looked like that or maybe it was an Izzet deck, but it felt like a burn deck, and I was like really surprised to see it. I was like, what's happening right now? Like 6 damage by turn 2. What are you doing?
I did see on stream somebody played against, and maybe even I played against, was like a red, white, black just answers deck.
Yeah.
Like as much as you could be no fun police. I don't think we attended that, but I think people started figuring out, well, I think if 7 people are trying to do crazy stuff, maybe I'm the one person that just drafts O-rings and lightning bolts and palace jailers and easy 3-0. But we can't to figure out what people are going to draft. But
Well, there's
Yeah,
always
maybe
going
that's
to
fun
be
for
it in
them.
there if it's available. Like you're guided by the draft. I mean, I had a Sarah Benevolent come around like 7th pick one pack, and I was like, who am I like? What is happening right now? Who am I drafting with? Who did not pick this up? And that was that green white deck. I was like, wow, this is as open as it's going to get.
Yeah, and I tried really hard. So cube, you have a certain number of interaction, generally removal.
Right.
But I tried having interaction attached onto proactive things. Planeswalkers do that a lot. They can kill a thing and then stay around.
Yep.
Maybe your interaction like blue black is take like hostage taker is
Yeah.
removal, but also progresses your game state.
Yep.
Because if you just put tons of removal, people will play control removal decks, and that's not super fun. And I wanted to make sure we wanted to make sure every color pair had an engine, had a dream to live. Early on in the cube, we had All Sun's Dawn in the cube.
Okay.
Get back because it's a gold format. It's got graveyard synergy, so it's good, right? But the kind of play pattern that incentivizes is Doomblade, Lightning Bolt, a white removal spell, and then
Right.
turn 5 get back all those removal
All
spells,
Suns.
and that's not fun.
Interesting.
And you're not progressing your game state. So even if it's not a good strategy, I didn't want to have people do that strategy as best as I could. So All Sun's Done, despite looking like a perfect card for the cube, did not make the cut.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, there's always going to be the opportunity to draft like some kind of answers deck or control deck, fun police, whatever you want to call it. But I do think in general, like I saw very little of that. I saw a lot more people trying to do proactive things, and ultimately you were trying to, I don't know if race is the word, but you were trying to just get your plan, to go either better or faster than your opponent. And I definitely thought it was more fun that way.
And we tried to find the balance of CMC especially with counter spells, removal. You're not going to see too much 2-mana removal or counter spells.
Right.
We would rather play like a 4 or 5 CMC counter that does something.
Yep.
As a way of kind of balancing of, control should be in there. You shouldn't just let your opponent solitaire and lose.
Right.
But how do we make it fun as well and kind of just balance that out?
Yeah, I love stuff like Supreme Will in that vein. That because again, also modality. I think anyone who's played any cubes knows that modality is like so important. And then as Pab just mentioned in the chat, Sublime Epiphany, or even honestly, commit to memory is fantastic, fun, very EDH feeling, but also like a 4-mana answer for just basically anything outside of utility land. And lets you do some like wacky stuff on the backside too, if you build your deck around it. So I think those are really good examples. And similarly, like the last deck that I played, an all-star for me was, there it is, Sower of Temptation, because I managed to drop that against a Soul Herder deck that was like on the verge of really starting to snowball, and just took one time I took their Soul Herder, one time I took something else, and just kind of pulled the legs out from under them. But like you said, it progressed the game state, right? It's the same thing as Hostage Taker. You're moving your game forward, not just saying no to your opponent and then like, I'm going to cast my big spell.
Yep. So like, we tried for every color to try to have answers for most things. Obviously, the color pie says no, but to answer Bab's question, Mire and Misery was for black X decks to answer enchantments. It didn't do it well, but it could still give, maybe on turn 4 they slam an enchantment and then mono black deck can kill it. So that's great.
Right.
So that card did fine. Making the cube, I knew Feed the Swarm was coming along. I'm like, I can't wait till Feed the Swarm comes out, and that'll be like a straight replacement for it because that is a little stronger and lets people draft it more. So like Sword of Temptation, Sword of Temptation is a blue card that can answer creatures, but you can interact with the removal, and that's the sweetest thing. Like if your opponent has Sower, you bring in your removal spell for 2 toughness creatures, and can actually interact with the removal, and that leads to more dynamic gameplay, yada yada.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely did. Like I mean, dropping Sower, I was like, man, I hope this sticks long enough for me to get my plan going. And it turns out if you have Urza, the answer is it's plenty of time. That was awesome. So we'll get to the draft soon, just because I don't want to go too late. But what personally, either in playtesting or in actually like playing, streaming, all that, any just stories that stand out from the cube, something wild or fun that, I mean, I'm sure there are a lot, but something that like pops to mind.
DUI you can think about. I'll give you time. My very first draft stream ever, I did draft 5-color Coalition Victory,
Nice.
and I had the opportunity to have Males from Nexus in play, cast Coalition Victory, and hope to hit a creature like before Coalition Victory resolves. And that's just like spinning the wheel and seeing what you get and living on the edge. I guess the blue-red in me, but that's just basically. If you notice, the cube is not only blue-red themed in that there is a blue-red theme that turned out to be one of the strongest, but playing off the top, casting free spells, you know, embracing the chaos, I believe was a term people throw around in Commander. And that's kind of, one of the pillars that this cube was built around.
Yeah, awesome.
In a draft I did, opponent had Wormcoil Engine in play, and I was able to ninja the Shinobi.
Oh, nice.
I hit Sower and the blue-black spell, the modal spell.
The
can't think of it. The red-black. Sorry, the red-black.
Colgan's Command.
Colgan's Command. Yes.
K command. Yep.
So I hit both of those. I was able to steal his Wormcoil Engine, destroy it. I get the tokens.
Yep.
And I think I made him discard a card or kill another creature, but I think just that was a dream that I enjoyed.
That was a dream. They're not stories; they're dreams, right?
In testing, I think I killed McDarby on turn 5 once with red white. That was the earliest you could possibly kill somebody.
I think we could go earlier, but yeah, it's the fastest reasonable turn.
Yeah, that seems about right. I mean, nothing really with like 2 power early. Not even a single red 1 drop.
Yeah, something like Faithless Looting into Rock into Wildfire Devils, and then just like go off like Wildfire Devils into Aminato's Augury, like Time Walk and a creature and enchantment. Yeah.
That was oops. Oh, you got it. That was my favorite dream. That Grixis deck ended up being, speaking of Aminatu's Augury, Nicol Bolas, Part the Waterveil. Is that the Awaken, take an extra turn?
Yep.
Is that right? Yep.
Yeah.
And then I managed to get both Urza and Djinn of Wishes, which I know are 2 of the like really strong play off the top cards in the, if not, I don't think they're the only 2, but I know to me they felt like kind of the 2 main ones. And like I said, I was looking at this deck and I was like, this is really ambitious. And then, again, had a really fun, tight 2-1 out of it and felt really good about it. So that I think kind of, and I don't think I managed to wheel the Grixis, gosh, what's it called?
Kess?
No, the big spell.
Cruel Ultimatum.
Yeah, Ultimatum. Thank you. I saw it go around, and there was something I just had to pick over it. So I didn't manage to get that, but I had Nicol Bolas, which came down a couple times, did some work. That felt good because I've seen other cubes where you've got a Planeswalker of this caliber, this 6, 7, 8 plus mana. It's big, and you put it in your deck ambitiously, and you just never get to cast it. And I think I dropped him 2, maybe 3 times through the whole league, and it was awesome. Felt really good playing that.
Nice.
So that was I started with a very practical green-white tokens deck, and I ended with a very impractical Grixis deck, and they both played very well, and they both were a really fun time. So one more question from chat. Did you think about minimizing any misleading or unsupported build-arounds in design? I think that's a good question.
A lot. Tons. So, every time I would think about a card, I would be like, will this mislead people into something that's not in the cube? So for example, Urza, a lot of people would see Urza and be like, oh, there must be an artifact strategy in this cube. I'm going to take Urza and build an artifacts. Later, they'll realize there's not really an artifact synergy. There's a fair number of rocks, but artifacts won't get you there. But it turns out Urza is strong in this cube for a different reason, and it's his last ability.
Yep.
So
even though I mislead,
get there.
Yeah, so even though, yes, I'm sort of misleading people with one way of the card, they generally will be happy that they have Urza in their deck later on. Another example is Anji Falconwrath. She says, discard a card, draw a card, rummage. But if it's Mana's card, you get to cast it for free. So people will think, is Mana in this cube? I'll play Madness. And yes, Black Red was kind of self discard opponent draw. I would say Black Red was one of the themes we didn't land correctly on at the end. One of the themes has to be the worst, right, out of 11. So I definitely wanted to put Madness cards in the cube, the good ones that people would want to play regardless if they had Madness or not. But turns out most cards that have Madness are weaker than similar cards that don't have Madness.
Yep.
So I didn't want to mislead people too much with Anji, but you still could kind of, she's a rummager with haste, and that's like not too terrible in a cube that's slow, and discarding in graveyard is a theme in the cube.
Yeah, I think I see her as graveyard support, but I could definitely see where, looking at that, you're thinking it's in there as a Madness support.
Yeah, but the lesson that I learned was that as long as a card has an out for a theme, like Urza has to do with, temporal aperturing, Anji does do some self-discard, people will find a way to have fun with it.
Yep.
And you shouldn't exclude a card only because it could go wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Focus on what could go right about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, my Urza deck ended up with, I think, 2 signets, and I felt great. I mean, I no part of me was like, fuck this card. This totally led me down the wrong path. I was just like, hey, I've got 2 Gins of Wishes, and I've got some like random, I pulled a, I don't even remember what it was, but some cheap random artifact, like a Pilgrim's Eye or a it might have even been something like a Shadow Spear, like an equipment that I was like, look, this is just a 1-mana rock if I can land Urza. And I was like, I'll throw it in just because having 1 in there is like no risk.
Sonny, you mentioned Pilgrim's Eye. I didn't like Pilgrim's Eye in the cube really, but D White was very adamant and like, no, people love Pilgrim's Eye. Put it in there. I'm like, you know what? Fine, I will. Turns out
it does it all.
Pilgrim's Eye was main decked 94% of the time.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
It was like the 13th highest pick in the cube.
Wow.
And I was like,
wow.
Do we need more like the Dominary one that does it or stuff like that? Because you got to do things on 3 sometimes, and this draws you a card, the best kind of card in the cube, a land.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's the thing is this is the kind of format where you can cast a Pilgrim's Eye and not feel too bad about it, because you're gonna have the time to make up that loss. That's amazing. And the other thing too is like, especially when you're going 3, 4, and 5 color frequently, you cannot, like you were talking about how rocks are hard to design. Part of that's because they're colorless, right? They literally go in any deck without a mana penalty. Well, something like a Pilgrim's Eye can be that thing that just takes your, barely makes it deck and lets you feel like you have a curve, right? You throw in a couple 2, 3, and 4 mana artifacts, and all of a sudden the curve looks like, a little more responsible. So I can definitely see this having a place in a cube like this for sure.
Like kind of behind the scenes, signets were kind of a very late ad, I would say.
Okay.
I had to fight for signets. If you're wanting to cast 5, 6, 7 plus, we had to have something interactive or something to do in those early turns.
Yep.
And while yes, signets do it kind of allows you to play anything you want. I think it's ironic that we found out that 4 or 5 color wasn't played that often, or very much. So
yep.
I think signets filled a pretty important hole in the cube, because I think in early testing we were testing a lot of 3 mana rocks, and
right.
we were just
we
would play and it'd be like turns 1 through 4 we didn't really do much. So
yeah, it was all set up, right?
Definitely, yeah. So I battled until we got signets in there.
Good job.
Good job.
We all of us who drafted it really appreciate you taking that hit for the team, because they definitely made it work. And again, I mean, it lets you get ahead a little bit, but like everyone had access to the, and especially on MTGO, where my Orzhov signet does not exclude my opponent from having one, means it kind of feels like everyone has access to that same level of like, 1 to 3 hopefully signets. Where in a traditional cube, if we were sitting down drafting this paper, it's probably going to come out feeling a little bit different, just because of the balance of what you can end up with in your actual deck. But I think those were a solid inclusion for sure. They were very helpful getting into those later turns. And when you're rocking like a leaner, Soul Herder deck, like you might not need really as many of them because you're getting off to the races early. hopefully, and that's fine too. Um,
For sure.
so last question I'll ask on it, and I'll give a moment for the chat if there are any lingering questions there. But what would be like the next, like you've mentioned a lot of lessons you've learned. So what would be like the next step, either if you're building this in paper or if it was going to be featured on MTGO again, hypothetically, or whatever, like what do you see, what would be the big thing that you would change to make this kind of the next, the 2.0 version? Or if you've already done it, what is that? What are those changes?
Well, thankfully, I'll let DY think about it while I go first. Thankfully, we do have data, so I can see what cards, didn't perform well. Like, we took a lot of experiments. Some experiments paid off, some did not.
Sure.
It's hard to say because it's just DY. It's just the two Davids playing. We would just draft
Yep.
it, and then we play each other, and like, we're definitely not the best players in the world. So we only have what we know of to be good or not. So we had a lot of experiments. Some failed. I would take the failures out.
Yep.
And obviously, you can see we tried lots of things. We probably will try some of the stuff that didn't try the first time. Plus, Commander Legends turns out is probably pretty good for a Commander style cube. And there's other sets. We come up with sets. It seems like every month, and also like to me.
Yeah.
So we try lots of things, and then rebalance. Of course, we thankfully get to rebalance stuff. So like maybe blue white. You flicker a Riftwing Cloudscape every turn. Well, that's not very fun. And then blue red. Cheating 15 mana over the course of 2 turns probably isn't great. And then like green black and black red, maybe thankfully I can up the graveyard power a bit.
Yeah.
Like maybe Necromancy turns into death, right? Live death from the split card.
Yep.
Yeah. So I can turn all the things, like maybe a Divest turns into a Thoughtseize. Not exactly that, but
yeah.
So we can just try new things, and maybe there's D White really liked 3-color strategies, and we had different 3-color cards, but maybe there's some like 3-color archetypes we can sprinkle in there in some places. So really it's just whatever is the most fun, and will make people want to draft it again and play some more.
Right. Yeah, I think looking at archetypes from 3 colors is actually really beneficial. I tend to do that when I'm building a cube, at least at the outset. Some archetypes, like a spells theme, always end up being Izzet, and if there's a 3rd color, it's just a splash, to enable it, or to maybe just because you happen to draft a couple sweet spells, sweet black or white removal spells. But I think going into it, looking at least, is this something that can be 2 colors with a splash routinely, with a little bit of intentional support, helps really kind of glue everything together. What do you think? What's the next step on this cube? What would be next?
Yeah, I don't have much other than what McDarby's already talked about. I think correcting what we made mistakes. I think we learned that Monarch is not the best 1v1, especially at 4 or at 3 if you have a Signet.
Right.
So maybe just removing stuff like that, adding the new cards, maybe changing an archetype or 2. We'll see. There's one card I really want in the cube that I've been fighting ever since we started the cube. If McDarby wants to let that out, he can. But yeah, I think just making it better, more fun, and hopefully we'll have another round and the same success.
Yeah.
Hey, D White, I fought for Sunforger. You didn't like it. With the data, yes, Sunforger did not make the cut over how much I had to warp the cube around it. So we'll take out the Sunforger and we'll put it in your pet card, man, in the future.
Stay tuned.
I was gonna say I'm super curious to know about that, but I can understand if you got to keep that under your hat. I was gonna say spider spawning, but I know that one's in there.
Spider spawning was actually Spider spawning and Burning Vengeance. I think were like the 2 cards that we thought of at the very beginning for like the first iteration of a Commander cube.
Right.
Like, what do people want to play with? Spider spawning and Burning Vengeance, obviously.
I mean, I think that's pretty accurate. Yeah. And I never ended up. I had spider spawning in one deck, and it just never quite ended up working. I think it was more on like a reanimate kind of thing. But But for sure, I can see that being good in here.
It's hard to be a creature-oriented graveyard synergistic deck when the blue-red decks are like Time Walk on turn 4, and the blue-white decks are bounce your land, flicker, bounce your land.
Yeah. When Ephemerate is a card in there, that's gonna, and like you said, a Riftwing, which I actually think I remember someone flickering that on me.
That card used to be Vincer, but changes the Rift and Cloudskate, and there aren't many cards that just bounce non-land permanents that are playable.
Yeah, agreed.
It's generally creature or any permanent.
Right. Not non-land. Yep. Interesting. Cool. Well, so our other our other segment today is we're going to do a little grid draft here, and like I said, I've got some sort of fun interview questions. Normally, I do this 1v1 with an opponent and me, but I'm actually, as I've told both of you, I'm actually super pumped to just be able to sit back. For one thing, as I know McDarby knows, and D-White, I don't think you stream, but if you have, trying to run the stream, talk to the chat, draft a cohesive deck, play a cohesive deck, keep things interesting is all. It's like, like I go to bed like wired and like completely unable to sleep. So I'm actually pretty pumped to just be able to like MC and let y'all make the hard decisions. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a grid draft. I'm going to run it on my screen, like I said, and I'll let you two just boss me around, tell me what you want to pick. If you need to see your cards, I'll scroll down. I'm going to try to kind of zoom in so you can see as much of the cards as possible. And I'm going to drop for Fox asked, I'm going to drop actually, I think I have a command for this. Bam. So it is it's kind of the top link there for the cube. It's an MTGO version, but that would give you a sense of what the cube's about for anyone who's curious. As we do the grid, whenever you are on pick one, one of you will get first pick, one of you get second pick for each pack, and you'll alternate. Whenever it's your pick one, I'm going to throw out like a fun little like interview style question just to get to know you as a person and not just as a cube that happens to have a name. Because a lot of times we know the cube and we know the designer, but we don't know like the person, right? So just some fun stuff. And again, feel free to dodge any questions that get deep and personal on you. D White, go ahead and pick odds or evens for me.
Even.
Okay. It is odds. So McDarby, you're going to get the first pick.
Finally, whenever we play tested, I think D White went first like 95% of the time.
If he gets first pick, I'm on the play, right?
No. I'll choose second pick if I'm going to play first.
That's the rule in my Winston. Whoever gets first pick is on the draw.
That's what I've usually done, or what we've always done with my kind of playtest partner is whoever wins gets to actually pick first draft or not, and then the other person gets obviously to pick, play or draw.
We can leave it to randomness.
I think MTGO is gonna. I think MTGO is gonna force you to either play or draw. I don't think it's gonna give you the choice, if I remember correctly.
Well, if I can just choose to draw, but whatever.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. All right. So let's jump into it. I'm also going to, as devilishly handsome as both of you are, for the sake of everyone's visibility, I'm going to go over to this.
Let them see the cards. Don't look at us. Look at the cards.
Yeah, for real. The important stuff. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit less. Perfect. All right. So real quick, and I think this is particularly pertinent for you, but before you make your pick, what's your Magic origin story? What's the comic book version of how you came to Magic?
I was begrudgingly going camping with my college friends just so I could have some social interaction. And as checking out Walmart, we checked out with the in the card game line where all the card games reps buying it. And I was like, I don't want to go camping. And I was being really, really ornery and stuff. And there was a big box of like Zendikar, like the box set. And I was like, Magic the Gathering, that's what those nerds play, right? Well, I'm not going to have fun, so I'm just going to buy this box thing, and maybe, because I played D&D at the time, like, maybe, like, they made Wizards of the Coast made a good game other than D&D, like this Magic thing, I don't know, whatever. So I got that, and then instead of, we went hiking and stuff, and at camping, I just wanted to play Magic, and we didn't know how the cards work, Cancel said cancel target spell. We thought that has been put back in your hand. Garrick Wild Speaker, like no one's there weren't rules on how a Planeswalker works, so we didn't know what to do. And then I went back and stopped playing Warhammer 40k and started playing Magic the Gathering. So
Amazing. I love that. That is, in fact, if you did not already learn, that is, in fact, what those nerds play.
Yeah, I did come to that conclusion. And nerds really like drawing cards, so I'm going to take the column where 2 of the cards say draw cards.
Oh my gosh, what is that? Muldrifter and Stunt Double?
Dismissive Pyromancer.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can't stray far from my Steam Vince natively, so let's take that middle row there, and DY can have
I'm sorry, the row. Yeah. Okay. Dismissive, Mull, and Soul Herder, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
I may have said, Colin, thank you for fixing that.
I may have heard it, so all good. D. White, what would you like?
Yes, I'll take the bottom row, please.
Bottom row, get that birds. I like that.
Yes.
That's some strong cards. I think you'll like the Stunt Double too. You'll find that's good. All right, D. White, I'm not going to repeat the questions all the time, but I think this one's worth hearing as well. So D. White, what's your Magic origin story?
Sure.
That's going to be a tough one to top, I'll be honest.
Well, I started a little longer ago. I was in middle school, and a friend of mine showed me he had this collection of cards, and it turned out to be Magic the Gathering.
Yep.
He had a deck of every color. They were in Ziploc bags. And this was 94, 95. So
fresh.
All revised cards. I just remember playing the trees, the broccoli symbols, casting crawl worms, carnivorous plants. So that's how I got started. Talked my parents into buying me some cards.
Amazing.
Same friend. And I don't remember all of the games, but I do remember, and I might have talked about this in chat on one of your previous streams, but I lost my Shivan Dragon to Auntie.
Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioning that. Oof. Oof.
Yeah. Crushed.
Yeah.
I think I played up until about Tempest came out, just casually with friends. And then 2007, in college, I just saw a group of people playing in the commons area. I was like, I remember this game. I bought a couple booster boxes, and the rest was history.
Amazing. Magic the Simpsoning is saying he definitely had to unwind some rubber bands to play his first deck. I was in a very similar boat. When you said Ziploc bags, that rang a bell for me.
Yeah, and I remember playing
those days
on a sidewalk in front of his house. No sleeves.
Nope. No.
Just sitting and...
Nope. It's just how you do it. Yep.
Awesome.
All right, what's your pick?
My pick... Oh, is it DY?
DY goes first on that one. Whoa.
Is it snaking?
Whoa. I think I'm going to take the middle row. So
Prince Snake Vista?
Correct.
Awesome. All right, McDarby.
So if I take the left column, I only get 2 cards?
That's right. You'll get Fountain and Tusker.
All right. Well, DY took the Prismatic Vista.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose I will take the bottom across, whatever that word is.
Yeah, Tusker Spires.
Yeah, that's sure.
Cool. All right. So we've covered some pet cards and stuff like that. McDarby, for your pick, what is Magic pet peeve that you have?
A pet peeve?
Yeah.
I believe that is in Commander, when it's multiple players.
Yep.
The person to your right does not crack the Revolving Wilds until the very last opportunity.
So it's when they do that or when they don't do that?
When they basically... I like speedrunning in video games.
Yeah. Okay.
So I like speedrunning in Magic because you get to play more Magic.
Yes.
And when there's a decision involved, like, you know, say, since it's Divining Top, you actually have a decision to make.
Yeah.
So you need the information. But if you don't plan on if cracking Evolving Wilds does not do anything for anybody, you don't have a landfall creature in play, you totally just like save us all a bit of time because that lets you beat me quicker, and then we can play again.
Yes, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, like you could be shuffling while the three of us are playing our land and our like one drop or
Yeah,
our two
thankfully
drop or
though,
whatever. I'm with you.
I believe with the rise of streaming and like command zone and game nights and start commander versus the like the when you what's it called when you're really nice at dinner and you eat from the outside in like a Titanic with the knives and the forks.
Oh my
Manners?
god, fine dining? I don't know.
Manners is one, but like
Manners.
it's the course that you take like in primary school or whatever. But yeah, manners. That's
Yeah.
Etiquette?
etiquette.
Etiquette. Yes.
That commander etiquette. Yeah, thank you, Foxes for sale. Etiquette's kind of been shown more, and people are kind of being shown like,
Right.
hey, let's
Right.
be nice and not be nice, but like just remind you that you can do these things and you can get through the game faster and
Yep.
play more Magic. Because that's all we want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Well, speaking of that, I'll let you make your pick now.
Yep. I think I want the top row. I can't. Like, I work with Excel all
You're like
day.
questioning it now.
I don't know what this horizontal line is called.
So Revoker through Briarhorn, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Poor Briarhorn. This is a shout out to Briarhorn. I put him in the cube to make green blue flash a thing.
Yep.
I've heard multiple people say, "Why is Briarhorn in here?"
Oh.
So if
Well-
there is a sequel
Yep.
to the Live the Dream Cube, don't count on Briarhorn being in it.
Well, I will give you the spoiler alert that Briarhorn is a very real card in this cube.
Great.
Yep. All right, D White, it's your pick.
I'll take the bottom row.
So Liliana through Sacred Cat.
The cat. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. I always confirm just as a matter of course because it's just if I fuck up the pick, then it's a lot more work for me. All right, so D White, in particular, I think this is good because we know McDarby is shackled to WotC forever now. But D White, what about Magic keeps you involved? What keeps you coming back, and what keeps you from just throwing your cards up in the air and saying fuck this and I don't know, playing Warhammer or something?
Yeah. Well, I've never played Warhammer, but I'm sure it's a good game. Really, I think most of my friends I've acquired through Magic. I think a lot of Magic players, especially people that have been around the game for a long time, including McDarby. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I was pointing at myself.
Begrudgingly.
I realized nobody could see me.
I keep nodding like yeah, and it's like no one can see that.
Yeah, and I can't say that I'm actively in Magic. I've sold out many a times. I currently only own my cubes, so beyond that, I'm not out buying packs, grinding F&Ms.
Right.
Right. But yeah, I think when you build that friend, that circle, you know, they're all going to be playing Magic probably forever. So usually we plan get-togethers, and yeah, we're going to play Magic, especially Cube. So yeah, just building friendships, maintaining friendships, and community. Being a part of this cube community is actually pretty new for me. I think the last year or so I've been more active. Cube is definitely my number one passion, and being able to co-design a Magic the Gathering or Moto Cube is really awesome, and I thank McDarby for giving me the opportunity. So yeah, hopefully that will continue in the future, and we'll see where it goes.
Awesome. I mean, to me, you just said cube, so I get you. I feel you.
Yeah.
Awesome. What is your pick?
This is a spicy pack.
Yeah. And it's on a diagonal in particular. Like for me, these three cards, Caracal, Alamir, and Dream Eater catch my eye. But basically, everything in here is real. Honestly.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm gonna have to take the pack that has the most, or the column that has the most green cards in it. So I'll take the middle column.
That's fair enough. Yep, I'm with you on that. Did that register? There we go. All right, that sends it over to McDarby.
Oh, this is easy. I just picked the column with the blue and red cards in it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yep.
Part of me is like, do I hate draft here?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I was like, I thought you were gonna take the Solemn for sure, but I'm like, green cards. He likes those green cards.
He likes those greens. Awesome. All right. Well, you mentioned that you. This is for McDarby. You mentioned that you were a D&D player before Magic. So obviously a big drinker of the Kool-Aid. So in that case, what RPG class are you?
So, excellent question, JJ. For most of my life, I thought I was always the wizard. I want nothing to do with physical action. I just want to be the guy who always thought he was smarter than everybody else. I like playing blue, so it kind of carries on.
Sure. Yep.
I wanted to know all the arcane sickness. Arcane secrets. I wanted to be the person we come across an artifact, and I make that arcane knowledge roll. And I didn't want to do any of that like picking up a sword, blah. I want to
No.
be the smart guy that knew everything.
It's like work.
As I grew up in life and in the gaming world, I can't cast magic spells in real life, turns out. But what I can do is become better at skills, help people help people have more fun when they're around me, and make life more enjoyable for everyone around me.
Yep.
Also, I like words. Words are our magic in this world.
Yeah.
They're just noises that our mouth makes, but you can make people feel a cornucopia of emotions with the words that you say. So knowing how to say things, how to make people feel good, and practicing the skills to be better at things in real life has kind of made me like a rogue more than a wizard.
Sure. Oh, I thought you were going to go with Bard, especially since you have a stream, but that's fair. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it, Rogue.
I guess, yeah, I'm colored by bards just being walking magical items in 3.5.
Yeah,
In 5th
yeah,
edition,
yeah, yeah.
in 5th
Okay.
edition, they're amazing and awesome.
Sure.
But plus I play like I often cosplay as like roguey characters, like
Right.
Star Lord or Han Solo or
Yep.
Nick Wilde from Zootopia or yada yada. So I think I'm a rogue now.
Okay.
Rogue wizard,
I like
rogue
it.
dragon wizard, like that's kind of my jam.
I like it. Awesome. Great answer.
Yeah.
And I sense that this was the question you wanted to be asked, so I'm really glad I allowed that one to you.
Speaking, as I said, rogue wizards, I'll take the row with a rogue wizard and a cleric to get 3/4 of the party in there.
Ooh, look at that. Yep. That's it. So Yawgmoth, Gonti, and Nimble.
Yep.
Amazing. And my pet card, Gonti, easily in that one. All right, that sends it to D White.
All right. Well, I'll just say that I picked a good time to refill my glass because
You heard that question? You had time.
You asked McDarby about his wizard. I mean, I got time. Yeah.
And you turned your nose up at Magic players, nerd.
Amazing.
All right. Man, how do you pass on Inferno Titan? That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's actually a bit of a recent addition too to the cube overall.
But it's not green, so
It's true. It's true.
Can
You know
I
what
see
is
my-
green? Etched monstrosity.
yeah. Can I see what I have? I wanna see
Yeah,
if
of
I can
course.
make this Inferno
Absolutely.
Titan work.
Yep.
Okay. Well, currently no red cards or red mana fixing, so. All right. Actually, I just want to see what McDarby had in this deck. I was just kidding.
Hey, I've been writing
hey,
down what I've been
also
taking.
I will happily scroll down anytime. You feel free to let me know.
I will take the Inferno Titan and the Chemister.
Ooh, interesting. Flipping over to Izzet over there.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. In a similar vein, to the RPG style questions, DY, if you were gonna have an animal companion or like a familiar, whichever way you want to go with it, what would it be?
Would it be a gator?
No. I would want something that's not going to rip my arm off. You can't go wrong with a dog. I've had many over the time, so there's no more faithful companion than
All right.
man's best friend.
All right. I dig it. And then what will your pick be?
Let's go. Let me take the bottom row.
Banewhip, Watcher, Goreclaw.
Yep.
Cool. And that's McDarby's pick.
Yeah, middle row, baby. I just want mana fixing, and Stonecoil Serpent goes in any deck.
Yep, that's legit. That is legit. All right. So we kind of covered this a little bit with D White. So I'll ask this to McDarby. We're going to go back to a Magic question real quick. And I think we maybe have a sense of this. So feel free to elaborate if you'd like in any direction you'd like. But what are your go-to formats? And if you can and want to, if you want to talk a little bit about that from the perspective of also like the design that you do, we're happy to hear about that. If you want to just talk more about playing, that's fine too.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I'll also add, are there any that you particularly avoid for any reason?
Sure. Well, back when I started playing Magic, I was introduced to this format called this casual format called Elder Dragon Highlander.
Oh yeah.
And I asked some friends that played, and I showed up. I was like, "Yeah, I figured this combo of Niv Mizzet with Curiosity. Oh, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna win all the games." And I played that with maybe another person in this call right now. And turns out, just winning the game with the combo in a casual format built to having fun isn't so well taken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned the rule. I learned the kind of the rules and such. And so that format, which is now called Commander, is basically what I've based my whole everything around.
Okay.
It's what I worked for Star City. I invented a show called Commander Versus. I now
Right.
design cards primarily for Commander.
Okay.
But I play Commander all the time. One of the reasons why I wanted to make the Commander Cube is that maybe you sit down and you're like, let's play Commander, and turns out not everybody likes Commander. But if you sit down and say, hey, you all want a cube, basically every Magic player will say yes to that.
It's pretty tough to get a no out of that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So Commander and Cube are basically why I like to play. I like to play games. Yes, I like to win. Turns out I'm a Magic player. I'm
Right.
equal Spike, Ginny, Johnny, and Timmy Tammy. I'm all three. Little Melvin, all kinds of stuff. But I also like figuring out how games work and express and seeing what I can use from that for my own game design prowess. So I just want to play the game out, and so Commander and Cube, where the emphasis is not on winning,
Right.
is where I like playing the most. Now, when it comes to constructed formats, I play the heck out of Legacy.
Okay.
Play Legacy all the time because it gives you decisions. And when Modern first came out, I played the heck out of Modern. I played Splinter Twin until the day I can no longer play Splinter Twin.
Amazing.
So just basically the fun formats. What I avoid, I don't play a lot of Vintage because the games are over by turn 1.5 on average.
Right.
And I want to play more Magic, right?
I'm with you.
So I love that Vintage exists because it lets people play with Black Lotus. Like that's Black Lotus is Black Lotus. But I just want to get into the muck of games. So I don't have a good segue, but I'll take the left column.
Awesome. Hellion, Prophet, Ghostly Pilferer.
Yep.
I think taking Prophet of Crifix when saying I want to play those games, that's a pretty good segue.
Yeah, Prophet was the only card I wanted. I just took the one with the red cards.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh, this is a great pack for me. Give me the center column.
Yeah. Taunter, Lannery, Swine.
Yep.
That's pretty good for you right there. That Lannery's gonna do some work for you. I'm a fan. I'm actually looking at trying to find ways for the paper version to get a little bit more treasure in. All right, D White. What is? Well, let me give you a good one here. What is an unexpected area of expertise, talent, or skill that you have that people watching this might not know about or might not guess?
Well, I guess it sounds like a job interview question.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Excuse me. I think just my overall attitude. Just looking at every situation as glass half full.
Okay.
I think just being able to be the person that can brighten a room or easy to talk to. That's what. Just trying to be mellow.
Okay.
Comforting as needed.
All right. I dig it.
Non-confrontational, no conflict.
Right. Keeping things smooth.
Yep.
I like it.
Like this drink.
All right. What's your pick? This is.
Can I have this whole pack?
Shit. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I will take the middle row, please.
Okay. So we're gonna take Caravan, Apprentice, Hydra.
Yes.
Yeah, that's some jam right there. There's some stuff. It's tough stuff to leave on the table here. McDarby, what would you like?
Oh yeah, it's nice working with DY because if his superpower is mellow, I'm the exact opposite of mellow, I think.
Awesome.
So it gives,
Awesome.
I mean, that's not always a good thing, let me tell you, but it's a good comparison. So I'll take the top row because Walking Ballista again goes in any deck, and Fairy Artisans we cut from the cube because despite being exactly what blue wants to do, it has some less than fun gameplay loops associated with it.
It can get out of hand. Yep.
Yeah, we showed
Yep.
this.
Yep. Yep.
I played this card against one of our mutual OG friends, another one of the friends that got me into Elder Dragon Highlander, and he was like, "What is this card even doing?" So
Yeah, it's and it gets a little extra nuts in this cube for sure. Um, all right, so for McDarby, who's someone that you look up to besides D White? We know that.
Besides, darn
We
it,
know
you
that.
cut me off. And besides you, JJ,
was that a short joke?
Uh-oh.
I'm 6 feet, man. You're
I
like
can't
6'2" or something.
I can't tell
Yeah.
sitting down. I can't tell.
6'3".
You're 6'3"?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just stalling for time.
That's fair. Yep. Doing a
Yeah.
quick Google search.
Yeah. Let's see. I think this is
Do you want me to-
huh?
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
Yeah, jump in, man. Yep.
You made the joke of looking up to me. I can say the same for McDarby. His story, I know, where he's ended up, pretty amazing. Guy moved out to Seattle because he wanted to work for WotC.
Nice.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe you had a job with them when you moved out there.
Definitely did not.
So to take that leap,
Yeah.
most people you don't see that very often. So I would say I would look up to him for doing that.
Amazing.
He should be proud of that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Awesome.
Damn.
All right. Now follow that. That's all.
Well, thank you, D. White. That feels nice. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. I mean, do I just follow it back? And I bet working with D. White, I was talking about being a rogue and I want to be charismatic.
Right.
I am not the most smooth communicator in the world, and sometimes D. White would propose an idea and I'd be like, no, that's dumb or whatever.
Right.
And sometimes when I work with people, I don't always think about how they're feeling. I'm so focused on making the right product that the people I'm working with may make them feel not good.
Right.
So D. White though has weathered that storm, and even with me, shooting down his ideas over and over most of the time, he still is able to give me ideas. And sometimes, I'm like, you know what, that's great, let's try it. Sometimes I say no, but he's still willing to work with me through making this cube, which definitely I was a bit stressful with at times.
Oh yeah.
I spent we both spent tons of time on it.
Yeah, it's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
To go from scratch to where we ended up in the amount of time, took a lot of extra time, late nights.
Yep.
Yeah, and you have a family, man. Like you
Yeah.
you got a lot of stuff to spend your time on, unlike me, who just still playing games all the time.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
I feel you. Awesome.
You still have to make a pick though.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
right.
it's McDarby's pick.
Well, I definitely want Colonnade or Fabled Passage. I think I'm gonna take a Fabled Passage. And am I playing a white or black? Maybe.
You don't
Yeah,
want Fabled Passage.
I'll take the
you don't
top
want that
row just because it has lands in it.
Yeah, I get the vent with it.
Well, hold on. Can I see my
Yeah,
deck
yeah,
real
of course.
quick?
Yep,
Sorry.
yep. No, don't be sorry.
I want to see if there's any white cards worth playing. Soul Herder, basically. Okay, yeah, never mind. I'll take the left column so I can get Yorion.
Yep, with the Fabled Passage. I can dig that. Awesome. All right, D. White's pick.
You've left me with nothing.
Yeah. That's the other reason to take that pick, right?
I'll take the middle column. That has the most lands in it, so
Yeah.
you never know.
Sometimes an off-color colonnade is fine. This is a slightly slower format, so you might have an opportunity there. All right, so yeah, spicy. And what pick are we on? So 10. So we're just past the halfway mark here. So kind of semi-similar question for you, D. White. People always kind of have like the party question. If you could assemble a dinner table, is usually the way that it's phrased, of either famous and or historical figures, who would be at your table. So like with it doesn't have to be a comprehensive list, but who are some people maybe from history that you would love to like meet and have a dinner with, and pick their brain for a couple hours?
Well, I think obviously, and this might be a homer pick, but I think Richard Garfield would be
Yeah.
person to pick. The complete opposite spectrum if we're gonna have a good time. The Rock. I think he'd
Amazing.
Be, how what is that gonna look like? Richard Garfield, The Rock.
I think they'd have a good time. I mean, I think they'd have a good time.
This is like Fast and the Furious 12 here. Yeah, it's a tough question.
Playing magic as fast as they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to mix up. I like to mix up the questions. So there's like a couple that are just like frivolously goofy, and then a few that are like, dude, what?
Yeah, like I was expecting to talk about magic here.
Yeah. This is why my my job interviews are so effective though, is because I just keep people off kilter. They reveal a lot when they're trying to figure out their answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I'll leave it at that. I think
No, that's good. That's fine. Yep.
Without having more time to dig deep, those are the first two that popped in my head.
Yeah, those are good answers.
All right, and it's still my pick.
It is your pick. This is an interesting pack. You got some green in here.
Yeah, I really like to have that Hornet Queen.
Yeah,
but it's in the wrong spot.
Yep.
We have Cloud Blazer that makes use of the mana I just took. I think I'll take the middle column. I can two.
So Beast Caller and FTK.
Yes.
Can't go wrong with that.
And better Chuck.
Yeah. Nice. I was so happy when I found Brian because like I love fling decks and games, and it's tough.
My first deck I built to play FNM when I got back into Magic in 2007. Lorwyn and Time Spiral were the sets. My first deck was a red-white Giants deck.
Nice.
I just jammed every red-white Giant in the format.
Nice.
I was all happy to go to my first FNM, and I got destroyed by Dragonstorm 3 rounds.
Yep.
I don't know if you guys remember that deck, but it was miserable to play against. So.
Yeah, I'm only passingly familiar with it because I was out during that time. I played like you. I started around Revised or shortly after that. I remember Masks coming out, and then I actually wasn't back until somewhere around probably Origins. So I was out for a good long time. Which, if you play against me, you will understand.
Yeah, it was not a fun deck to play against. With my casual red-white Giants.
Right. Yeah. All right. What's your pick?
I'll take that left column because it says draw 2 cards. Thank you.
Yeah, it sure does. Yep. It's blue, right?
Yeah, and I can play Hornet Queen and beat D White's creatures with the best green creature I've seen so far. Oh,
it might be the best one in here. Yeah, for green.
Are we allowed to trade after this? Is there anything you want for that Hornet Queen?
Nope. Sorry.
You're gonna have to find some serious blue cards.
Will you look at my binder?
Sure. Yeah, I got my binder. You want to trade? Tradesies?
Tradesies.
Yep.
Tradesies over video chat. All right. Here's a good one that a friend of mine gave me. What is the best or the best that comes to mind? And this is McDarby. What is the best advice you can remember ever getting? That's a deep one. Deep cuts here. Yeah.
Well, I think I kind of already said the first one that comes to mind. Basically, thinking about how your words will impact other people, something like that.
Sure.
But when it comes to game design, we're talking about games. I think it's Shigeru Miyamoto. One of his quotes was like a delayed game is delayed for some time, but a bad game is bad forever.
Yeah.
So just take the time to make something right, because it stays in that world forever. I mean, not talking about patches or whatever, but for this Live the Dream Cube, I spent many nights just going over cards, trying new cards, playtesting, because we wanted to get it right. Make sure it could have the best foot forward.
Yep. Yeah, you can only do it right once, right? I mean, that's really good advice.
Yeah, so people are upset when a game, like Animal Crossing or Cyberpunk is delayed.
Right.
Well, I'm thankful that they're spending more time to make it what it needs to be.
Yep, 100%. I agree.
Obviously, there's lots of decision making when it comes into that,
Yep.
and I don't fund game studios myself, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm in. I don't have to worry about the money stuff. I just want to make good games. Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I think with this one, lands are good. So I'll
You.
take the 2 lands, and I'll take the character I have cosplayed as before. So take your pick. Which one do you think that is?
Jace, I know.
Yep.
There might be another one. And did you? Was it Eidolon? Was that? Did you? Were you Eidolon of Countless Battles at one
I had
point?
a Fiend Artisan cosplay I was working on.
Was it Glorybringer?
I need to see that. I need to see that Fiend Artisan. That's gonna be hell on your back.
Yeah, I want to make my own friends.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, D White, what's your pick?
I'll take the middle column.
Middle column, Resto Angel and Glorybringer. You are talking my language. And yeah, chat wants to see you cosplay as Null Priest.
Null Priest win. Well, just you wait, Bulge of 56. It's coming.
It's coming. All right, D White, real quick. Because I'm pretty sure contractually I can't ask McDarby this one. What other hobbies or games are you into? What's some other interests there?
You totally can, by the way, JJ.
I know you can't see my face. I'm just joking around.
Okay.
Just giving you a hard time.
Well, right now my hobby that takes most of my time is children.
Yeah.
3-year-old, almost 4, and a 6-month-old. So.
Ooh boy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So well, then I'll just add. I really appreciate you coming on tonight because I know what that means.
Well, luckily it worked out because the 3-year-old's at the grandparents' house, and so it allowed me to step away without any kind of stares from my wife. But outside of Magic, up north here, I'm in Wisconsin, so nature is always calling when it's nice. Summertime, disc golf is a pretty big hobby of mine.
Hell yeah.
Traveling, obviously, I think everybody likes to travel. Hopefully,
Is disc golf big up? Is disc golf big up there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. There's lots of places up here to participate.
I got into it when I lived in Georgia, and it's like you can't go anywhere without tripping over it in the South, or at least in that part of it, and it's not as prevalent out here on the sort of Middle East Coast where I am now, but but there's a couple spots near me, so
and kind of I guess explain my chat handle, Twitter.
Oh no, really that's another question. Don't even worry about it. We're gonna get to that one.
Well, I'll a little tidbit. Traveling really theme parks, roller coasters.
Nice. Nice.
Been multiple places around the world just to visit theme parks, which a lot of people might think was crazy, especially my wife. When like, yeah, I'd love to go to Japan and just go to the theme parks. Or
amazing.
So yeah, it's
okay.
I spent a lot of time researching, learning. I probably know way too much about that stuff, but
okay, cool. We'll come back around to those then. And what is your pick?
A lot of red cards in this pack here.
Yeah.
I will take the middle row, please.
Okay, Heartpiercer and Wildwood.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, McDarby.
I'll take the bottom row because it has removal spells.
It sure does.
Took the land.
It sure does. Yeah, I'm a big fan of a Gear Hulk, as long as it's not a white one. All right, McDarby. What would you do with a big lottery win or a big cash win besides buy all the cubes?
Besides, you got that one right out there.
Yeah.
Well, I won't talk about all the boring legal stuff. There was a really good Reddit post, like, I don't know, a year or two ago, where someone was like, here's what you do if you win a lottery.
Yep.
I know, because I help people deal with money, and here's what happens when you don't do it correctly. So there's all the really boring legal stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I'll be honest, I'm really bad with money. I have I don't save it very well. I give a lot of it away, and I don't make good decisions with it. I don't.
Okay.
Because I'm thankful that I'm in a position where I have a job, like during the economical climate that is right now.
Right.
So I'm thankful and very happy that I don't have to worry about this a whole lot.
Absolutely.
I think I would probably help out organizations and people that have helped me out get away. So like in like elementary school, I stayed at like the Boys Club of America. I
Right.
like during part of my life, I was there after school for a couple hours, and like that helped me. Like I learned how to trade Pokemon with people because there
Yeah.
I got to install old computers there when nobody else could, and I was like 9 or something. And so I got to like kind of learn how to talk to people some. So I think like boys, Boys and Girls Club America, I'd help them out, and I probably would give away more than I should.
Awesome.
But then I also yeah. So I'm not sure what I would do. I would probably do something for me. I don't know what that is. It would be like go with my partner to Japan or something. But like
Right.
going places is very not great right now.
Yeah.
So I
You'd have
wouldn't go
time.
anywhere. I don't think,
It'd be a
sadly.
while.
But
No,
yeah,
man,
I would
I
help
think
out the
that's a
people.
great answer. I mean, I've only asked this a couple of times, on here, and a lot of people, it's really easy to be like, oh, I'd buy a big house, or like I'd, like I know one of my answer, only partly tongue in cheek would be, buy the Live the Dream Cube, but that's fantastic. Like you'd help out people that helped you. Like that's a great answer. I love that. You're hired. No.
Hooray!
Yeah, no, that's not a boon for you. You stay where you are.
Yeah.
But that said, what is your pick? For this
I'll
pack?
take the dual land, and I guess the colorless card that goes in every deck.
Batter Skull.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
it's quite the creature for the creature cube.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's like 2 or 3 that are like they feel like creatures. I don't like to follow all the rules too closely.
It's you got to make the rules. That's the beauty
Yeah.
about cube,
Yeah.
man.
Yep. D White, your pick.
I'll take the first column, Giant and Lancers.
Giant Lancers. Awesome. Love it. All right. So I'll do one more question each because I've run out of most of my good ones, but and then we can wrap up these last few picks. But for D White, since you mentioned it, what would you say is the most like either interesting or craziest place that you've traveled?
Ooh, this is a good one.
Or just one that you want. I mean, we don't know if it's actually the most interesting,
Yeah.
but one you want to talk about, one you like to tell us about.
Last year I was able to go to Germany for a couple days.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. My wife, her family, we all went to Europe for a period of time. She wanted to take her dad to visit Normandy, which is where her grandfather fought.
Wow.
So while they were doing that, I kind of went on my own to go visit some theme parks.
Yep.
I was able to gallivant around Germany for 4 days.
Awesome.
Hitting up some kind of bucket list theme parks and rides, and
Right.
which was pretty fun.
Get some beers.
Yeah. Also into cars, so I was able to. I don't know who you guys are fans of Gran Turismo, but was able to go to the Nuremberg Ring.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That sounds like a great trip.
Yeah. It was a great trip for sure.
Awesome. All right.
Luckily, it was last year, not this year.
Yes. Yeah. I assumed so. That would be. Yeah, that's like you made it right before the cutoff there.
Yeah.
Especially with Germany. All right. What's your pick for this pack?
Kind of want to hit that blue card that draws cards because I know Darby wants it.
Yeah.
What? I mean, there's a red card that draws cards too, so good luck hitting both of them.
I will take the first column, Gore Clan down.
Gore Clan down. Yep. Hating on it. Oh, the Gore Clan's pretty good in here too.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of that.
I'll take
All right.
the right column.
Yep. Get that Rob.
Rob, I
Rob.
learned from you, man.
That's.
I've been spreading the Rob technology throughout Wizards, by the way.
Oh my gosh, I love it. So full credit to Derek Gallen, who writes for Hipsters, I believe, for teaching me that one. But ever since then, that's been Rob, and you'll never convince me otherwise. I'm in on that one. All right, so
Can we have like I feel like we go through like a whole segue of Magic nicknames.
Oh my gosh, someday I want to have a bunch of people come on and just give me their best their best crazy Magic nicknames, because there's so many good ones. Rob, Steve, Bob, whole passel of English names. So McDarby, this will be your last question, and I'll let you guys draft at that. But D White, if you want to answer it as well, if you have anything in
Sure.
mind, But McDarby, because I know you stream and stuff, do you have any projects, any interesting things coming up? Obviously, I know you can't like spoil cards and stuff, so I'm not digging on that. But like anything interesting coming up that you'd like to share or talk about, maybe a cosplay, like your Fiend Artisan cosplay that you'd like to drop here and tell us about.
Oh yeah. Well, cosplays have kind of been on hold because it's hard to hold conventions and go places in the current environment. Which, by the way, people shouldn't. Yeah, if you can afford not to go places, you definitely should not.
Agreed.
So a lot of the stuff I've been working on, I'm basically on vacation for most of the rest of the year.
Nice.
So it's time for me to play games and make games, and I've always wanted to like make like a fighting game, but with like card game elements in it. So before I played Magic, I played 40K. I also played fighting games, and I can say professionally a little bit because I did make money traveling tournaments and playing fighting games.
Amazing.
So I've been playing games like Rivals of Aether has a really good character creator. Learning Unity, like Magic Arena, is made in Unity. So like learning code like that to just make my own games.
Awesome.
Like my goal in life has always been make people happy through the magic of games. Just like turns out a Wizard of the Coast, working on magic cards, making magic cards is a good way to do that. But like maybe I just want to make my own game at some point in my life. So probably just leveling up in like game design hard skills, like coding and such like that.
Right.
And I can make my own thing at some point.
Awesome. All right. Very good. And at any point, please, both of you, if you have them for anything, drop any links you'd like. I at some point I'll drop the Live the Dream Cube link just to make sure anyone who is not familiar with it can go take a look at it. But if you have any links to anything that you're working on or that you want to share, your own stream, stuff like that, please definitely drop those in chat. And then this is pack 15, so we're light at the end of the tunnel, and this is McDarby's pick.
Great. I'll take the top row because there's lands and cards that theoretically draw cards.
Courser Keeper, Lumbering Falls. This is literally a Simic pack, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. Awesome. All right, that's D White. That's a tough cutoff there, but there's still a few good cards here.
For sure. Tough between Gearhulk and the Slumbering Isle guy.
I've seen them both do work, so.
Yeah. I will take the middle row.
Okay, Geist and Gearhulk?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's the pick. Dungeon Geists is I didn't want to say anything before you all picked, but that's a surprisingly good card in here for obvious reasons. All right, so that is D White's first pick. I think we have 2 more packs left.
Yep. Is there a question with this pack?
No, I'll let you guys finish up. I went through most of my good questions.
Gotcha.
Happy with that.
All right, JJ, question for you. How did you get into Cube? What was your introduction to Cube?
Oh my God. So, okay. So the, I guess I must have first heard of it on limited resources, or something like that, some content, but I think it was LR, and it piqued my curiosity. I was interested in trying it out. And at the time, most of my play group were friends from work or a few like casual friends I had that I had basically taught to play Magic. So like I was not super enfranchised yet. I was still kind of getting back into it. They were much less so, right? Like a couple of them maybe had a couple old decks. Most of them were just playing with cards that I had. I put together some kind of, sort of versus deck feeling, casual decks just for people to play with. So I was like, well, Cube obviously is like the most sensible thing for me to try to put together here because it would let everyone play in the same field and not have to worry about who has a good collection and all that. And Pauper Cube is the cheapest way to do that. And I was playing a lot of Pauper on MTGO. So I just took the Styborski list, right? The famous Pauper Cube. I went through what I had. It turns out I had 80 or 90 of those cards already. I went to my local game store, which we all should support as safely as we can. And I just went through the bulk for literally 2-3 hours, just sat there going through bulk, pulling out commons, pulling out stuff I knew was on the list. Right. So I built this cube up, and I got it all packed up and shuffled up and sleeved and everything. And I took it to that same game store on a popper night. And when the event didn't fire, I was like, hey, I have a cube. Does anyone want to try it out? And everyone, like you said, you can't get a no out of someone on cube, right? Like,
Right.
so they're all, people are grabbing friends, like, let's get 8, let's do that. So this one guy, as he's shuffling, he's like, all right, tell me about the archetypes. Tell me about the archetypes in here. And this was my face. And I was like, yeah, it's, I really like some of the red, and he was like, okay, we'll go in blind. It's okay, kid. And so like I went home and I was like, okay, clearly I have a lot to learn. And just, I think kind of from there, I mean, you both know, cause you both have designed and maintained cubes. It's a constant tinker, right? I mean, there's always, even if a new set isn't coming out, or if a new set doesn't hold a lot of interest for you, there's just always stuff you can mess with, rebalance, change, improve, right? So from there, it was such an easy outlet for that energy that I have, that design energy, and I've just been down the rabbit hole ever since.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah. Sweet. So the moral of the story is I built my first cube without ever having played one, and again, I think when you play my cube, you'll see that that's true.
All right, awesome. For my pick, I will take the third column.
Startled Awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Technically a creature on the back. That one's not an exception. All right, McDarby.
Yeah, I don't think I'm playing minis cards, but I'll take that middle column because I just want Overgrown Tomb.
Right. You got it. All right, and then that's still McDarby's pick. This is pack 17, so 2 more picks.
2 more.
And this is a hell of a pack. I will say the adventure mechanic was a big boon for this cube, obviously. And it almost was a disappointment, because until then I was really proud of the fact that Startled Awake was in the cube. Because again, I could say that everything had a creature type on it, even that one sorcery that's in there. But but having actually good sorceries and instants has actually been more fun.
Yep. Despite having to read Lockjaw Snapper for the first time in my life, I think I'll take that middle column.
You are so welcome. So we're gonna get Lockjaw and Avacyn, right?
We got a reader.
It's really lava. Oh yeah. Speaking of that, for our cube, the internal project name for the Live the Dream cube is the We Got a Reader cube.
Is it really? I know. I heard. I think from one of you, they you got them to extend the pick timer on the draft. Is that right? Is that correct?
Yeah. So I also, one of my mini roles, it was just as I help create and post and maintain and cover all the events for Magic Online.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I post events all the time, and I got to make my own event and post my own event, and I wanted to make sure that because there's so many weirdo new cards that it was fine with Mint Go Business if we did extend the draft timer, and they're like, sure, no problem.
Right.
That's right.
That's
and I thought that was right, so that's what we did.
Yes, I agree, and I really appreciate it, especially doing it on stream, the ability to be able to look at a few cards and not be like, holy shit, I'm about to get an auto pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great. Glad you liked it.
No, I appreciate it. So I think that's D White's pick.
Yeah, first column.
Rashmi, Howling Giant.
Yep.
And pretty much the only sweeper in here, frankly. All right, and then this should be our final pick, right? So
Darby, if you take that Raging Ravine, I'm never speaking to you again.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It's
you. It's you, D-White. It's you.
Yeah, I know what you're taking. I already know what column you're taking.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious.
Do I want the Trumpeter? No, I'll take the middle column.
Awesome. Remember to attack with your Vigilance creature in the future.
Yeah, okay. Remember to put your companion in your hand first.
Oh my god. I never did that. Every time I play the companions, I just kept thinking the old rule. Right.
And
then I would click on it, and they'd be like, "All right, it's your hand," and I'm like, "Wait, that's it." I'll take the Scuttlemud is actually pretty good.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think I want the right column because Hostage Taker is
Hostage Taker's also pretty good.
Yeah.
That's tough to beat. All right. We have decks. So there is a little bit of slightly less fun housekeeping here, but we'll just actually let me put this in real quick. What are we at? 11:25. That'll be fun. Save this because we got to save it before we export it. So what I'll do is in Discord in our little group chat here, I will upload the exports.
Great. Looking forward to seeing which cube David reigns supreme.
I am not at all keeping close score here. No, I'm very excited for you.
Unless I lose, and then I won't be.
Yep.
Looks like I ended up with more non-basic lands.
Yeah.
Can we talk about? I don't know
if
is
Stone Coil
Cultic Cube. I don't know if he's in the chat, but during testing, the one thing we found out is
Cube in chat.
It's impossible to ever see a fetch land.
In the Live the Dream Cube?
No, in the testing on Cube Cover whenever we do drafts.
Oh,
the bot just snaps fetch lands.
Yes.
So we would never.
Yes.
We would never have any fetch lands in our testing unless you opened it.
Right. Yeah, I had a similar experience a couple times doing like bot drafting like that. All right, so McDarby, you had the Stone Coil. Am I remembering that right? In yours?
Yes.
Is that right? Yep. Okay, so this one should be for you. Upload that. And then this one should be for D White. I'm going to hide the chat again because that'll break our thing. All right, and I have a little naming thing I'm going to do here. Cool, and so there's a really cool guide I mentioned earlier, and at some point when y'all are playing, I'll try and dig up the link for running your own cube on MTGO if it is not currently being featured on a special event, since those are, take a while to cycle through. And I'm not going to go over every bit of it right now, but we'll do this. Make sure all the cards come up. Oh, and then that's right. I don't have to, you said I don't have to trade to you, McDarby, right? Because you'll have access to
I am good
everything.
To go, yeah.
Yep. Those good old loaded accounts. So then we're going to export this. Because when you export it, it captures the versions of the card so that you. I think we want to add a binder. It should cut it. Yeah, this is the right one because you had the Vista. All right. Where are you? So Thrill Rider comes from your love of theme parks and rides. Is that what I gathered?
Correct.
From? Nice.
Yeah.
That's actually one of my questions that is in there is, tell me about your screen name. And that you segued nicely into that. And, Watsy _ David M is pretty straightforward. So I neglected to ask him that one.
Oh yeah, it's not. Yeah, I didn't get to choose that one, so
no. All right, so D White, that trade should give you, and just kind of take a quick peek, but that should be all the cards that you drafted.
All right.
And you can just take everything.
Is there a way to take all, or do you have to click them all?
If you drag over all of them, it should highlight,
Oh
and then
yeah,
you can
yeah,
just
yeah.
drag them all. Yep.
Here we go.
There you go. Sweet. All right, and then you can start building there. And McDarby, you got your list okay from the
Yep.
upload?
I think
Awesome.
I'm about
Perfect.
done building.
Cool.
How's this format working for you, JJ?
The two guests,
Mm-hmm.
I am definitely enjoying it. It was
Sweet.
and it's like I said, it's very interesting seeing seeing what y'all picked. Like I know some of your proclivities as well, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting cards that I definitely would snap pick. That in some cases y'all did, but also cards that I wouldn't have given as much thought to because, like I said, I've just inoculated myself to their usefulness.
Yeah, I went into this. I'm going into this cube blind because
Right.
you only get to go into the thing blind once, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
So I
That's
always
true.
try to keep that viewpoint when I can.
I like that. I'm more of a I am definitely a cube researcher. I like to dig into, especially if I'm going to stream it. That's a different thing. Like this is a chill thing. Like you know, um, just having some fun with some friends. But when I'm going to stream it, and I'm maybe hoping to at least go 2-1 so that I can, roll the tickets over, right, or the play points, is the big thing for me, making it cost effective. But it is a lot of fun going in blind the first time.
Sure.
As long as you know that the whole thing is creatures, because especially in a grid draft, it would be easy to be like, well, the removal will come around any minute now, and you're like, no, man, Dungeon Geist is your removal.
Yeah, dungeon. You had both Dungeon Geist and the dragon that does the Dungeon Geist
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
that's what I'm scared of.
Yep. And there's I actually was just looking at it. There was a Commander Legends card that has a similar effect. But I think it's pirate based. Am I remembering that right?
Yep. There's a blue pirate that does it. Yep.
Blue pirate, yeah. And I actually looked pretty hard at that one because I was like, ooh, repeatable Dungeon Geist is pretty strong. So yeah, all right. So I'm gonna also the pirate Fox for Sale was right. I'm gonna pull it up real quick while D White's building because I can. Oops. Which one was it? Oh, I forgot about the reprints because I usually take those out. It was the Merchant Raiders. That's the one. Very cool looking card. Super interesting that you can get multiple effects out of it, but they all end when you lose control of Merchant Raiders, which I think means it's not going to be too powerful, but still a fun card.
Yeah, if you're losing to a 4-mana 2/4, you got bigger issues to worry about.
Right. Yeah, especially in Commander, I think this is going to be a perfectly fun card.
Yeah, and this set was really unique. So I'm done building. I know DY will take a minute because I got to go first. So,
Yep.
Commander Legends was unique in that we wanted to find uncommons that were fun and rewarding for drafting and for deck building, but also ones that have application in real world Commander.
Yes, of course. Yeah, balancing. So how involved were you in Commander Legends?
So I wasn't on the team. So
Right.
teams that I've been on that you know of is C19. So like
Okay.
Black Red and Naya and Sultai Morph stuff.
Nice.
So I was on that team, so I know the team a lot. For every other product, I basically am always in a few playtest drafts.
Nice.
Maybe something that will get spun up. Like we want, like for Commander Legends, I was on one of the mini teams of just we needed to find some more sweet rares, and when I design cards, I basically only design rares. It's hard to make
Attaboy.
good common. Yeah, it's hard to make good commons. And uncommons are the sweetest card to design.
Yeah.
But I usually just make flashy top-down rares and such. So we wanted to make some rares for Commander Legends, and the sneak attack for your Commander Dragon came out of that exactly.
Okay.
I really popularized the Sneak and Show deck in Legacy. I don't know, 8 years ago or something.
Right.
Before Grizzlebrand came out, is when I played it. I'd sneak attack Progenitus into play. Like, all right, you're at 9, go, I guess. And I wanted to do that for Commander, so I was like, let's just make a sneak attack dragon because dragons are the best creature type.
That's awesome.
And so like that's the team, but yeah, I wasn't on
Hey,
the team.
Dante,
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. Sorry, I didn't.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
you're
So
good. You're good.
that I think answered your question. Not
Yeah,
tons.
yeah.
I wasn't on the team, but I did a few drafts and everything. Yeah. I do drafts of every set we make basically.
That's awesome. No, that's very cool. Yeah, I knew you had some involvement in design. I just I wasn't.
Yeah, it's
I was
hard.
very curious about, and I know it's also like, I mean, it's a big company. It's not like, oh, these 4 people designed.
Yeah. Like,
this
yeah,
whole thing,
even when
right?
you say, like, I designed a dragon, well, I came up with the idea, but, like, Adam Prozac
Right.
was like, so my idea was, like, attack trigger, sneak attack your commander, and I was like, let's just do it once, 'cause Adam Prozac, he's awesome, smart, and funny, and great.
Yep.
So, like, he helped tune it. There's,
Right.
concept artists, the artist, like,
Yeah.
there's a million people who touch a card.
Yep.
So, like, you say you designed a card, like, maybe you had the initial idea for a card,
Sure.
but, like, there's a billion people that work on everything, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So again, this is the part that I haven't done before because usually I play. I'm excited to watch. So whenever you're ready, one of you can issue a challenge to the other, and I think send the there's a code or a number or something, and I'll observe.
Yeah, so I will challenge D White. Watchers are allowed, so I think you
Okay.
can look in the limited play lobby.
And
I
find
think
your
you'll be able to find it.
probably
Or oh no, I bet it'll be constructed freeform. So constructed
freeform. That makes sense.
specialty freeform open play. There we are. You can see us there.
Yeah, and it's a game of 7582. I don't know if it shows the numbers. It ends in 7582.
There it is, freeform open play. It's probably, well, I was gonna say it's not gonna be a lot of them, but maybe there will be. I don't know.
Also, McDarby hacked it where you got to be on the play. So
I did hack it. Yes.
Oh, hacked it.
I mean, I can. If the rule is I'm on the draw, I will choose to be on the draw.
no, I'm just messing with you. I guess we'll have to even out at some point from all the times I get to play first in testing.
You play first all the time in
Right.
testing.
So I don't know if this is loading slowly or if it's not in the freeform open play.
Yeah. Can you see the match in freeform open play, D White?
Oh.
I'll be honest with you, I don't even know how to look. Maybe I'll win on time here.
Please,
Right. It's not in that one.
Let's see.
JT commenting perfectly on the timing of how professional the stream looks. Well, I can't find
yeah,
your.
we can just I can just host a freeform open play game, and see if that appears.
Yeah, let's try that.
Okay, so I will leave this game. Concede match. I have lost.
Oh,
One.
got him.
Done.
You got him.
Anyone can join. So hold on. Yeah, D White, you should see my game open in freeform open play. Maybe JJ can too. I'm not
Yep,
sure.
I do see it now. Yes.
Do you see it, JJ, somewhere?
Let me see. Maybe if I pick a deck, it'll.
Oh yeah, you'll need to. Yeah, just like if I don't know if you know if you'll even have one.
I mean, I just have random. Oops.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just you can just probably import one of those. I'm not sure.
And I'm on the play. Thank you.
Oh, come on. Calling shenanigans.
For real. Most of these should have.
Maybe. Can you just import one of our decks? Maybe I don't know if that might be easier.
Import a deck list.
That's what I'm. Yeah. Most of mine are broken because they share a card somewhere with one of your decks. You know, because it's all singleton. So I'm kind of faking one. By just pulling random shit in until it's not broken. What does it think? Oh.
Got some sideboard cards that you don't know neither?
Yeah. Well, again, just because they're all traded.
What does it say now?
It's missing now.
You can right-click on the... Yeah.
What is even? I thought that was the whole.
Oh. What if it was a feature?
No, it's a sideboard.
Look at your sideboard.
Yeah,
there we go.
There we go.
Cool.
All right. Crazy.
I was hoping our deck or match would show up there.
There we go. Got it. Watch it.
Oh, nice.
All right. Yep. Watch the game. Make it big. Awesome.
All right.
All right. Now my official debut in Cube commentating.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Let's point out all the misplays.
Yeah.
Man, I would love to be on the play with this hand.
Right. Oh.
And it's not good.
Well, I mean, you drafted it.
I did draft it. It's amazing. Right.
You can always blame the cube designer. I think we've all learned that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm excited.
All right.
You like the Fabled Passage?
Totally jealous.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to copy you, so go.
Pretty good start there. Pretty good start.
Nothing on turn 2? I'm just going to play a Jace on turn 2 if that pleases the court.
Bam. That's a good way to start, too.
But I imagine this card is a little weaker in a cube without instants and sorceries.
Yeah, it is. But then it also is a cube without planeswalkers, so it's sort of a weird wash. It's mostly a looter. Actually, I don't know. I've lost to JVP more than once. Actually, I hate to say. So we toss a plains. All right.
I'm kind of scared of this Alloymere powering out a Glorybringer, but I don't think I have much to do about it.
Right.
Just wait, my friend.
Let's see what the big 5 is. The bop.
Bop.
Right on time.
Does Glorybringer have Death Touch, Hexproof, Reach, or Trample?
Nope. Yeah, that's actually the Beast Tracker's on my list of things to cut, just because it always feels like it's going to be good, and then it's always like, I don't know. Especially CMR has this new sort of weird Green Sun Zenith on legs, sort of.
I will say it feels nice knowing that he cannot counter anything of mine.
First time having that as a reality, right?
That's right.
We didn't see them, but there are a handful. There are a handful of counter spells that are worth playing in here. We did. We saw the Mystic Snake, but that's I originally did try to support more of a air quotes control deck, sort of embedded in the flash deck, but it never quite got there. Oh, there you go.
Big oof.
Yeah. Yep. Ooh, well, that's one way to deal with it.
Yeah, I can't quite get to it though.
Nice.
Playing a 3 toughness creature into Inferno Titan doesn't feel
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It gets you that one untap. Gives them something to target other than your face.
Mm-hmm. So voracious.
That's another card I have a hard time passing. I'm big fan of the Hydra.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Not very impressive, sadly. Being on the draw
Yep.
is not great.
Yep. Yep. With the serpent.
Okay. Where's all your gold cards at?
Hey, you have 5 cards. It's my one.
Yeah, cards in the
Good old
hand though
blue.
aren't so good as cards on the land.
It's true. The tricky thing with those Dream Eater effects too is bounce is less good in this cube, obviously, when there's so many ETBs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neat thinking how cards are different in this cube.
Yep.
It's really neat. Yeah, changing the texture of how cards feel is just amazing. This cube
That's
is so great.
my favorite thing about cube. I mean, and that was a big thing that resonated with your guys' cube was, you know, the card. I think I heard both of you mention at different points today and other times that part of the fun of designing the cube was giving a home to cards that people don't play very often, and that like when I heard that I was like, oh, that's what I'm about in cube. I love that. There's the flash.
Hmm.
My inside info.
I don't want to bounce all these ETB creatures.
I know. Sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's good, I promise. But yeah, it's especially something like the Hydra. It's like, oh, have you put down a bunch more lands? Here, let me make that bigger for you. Yeah.
Just pray he doesn't have a creature trick.
I know he picked up Slaughterhorn.
Oh, Briarhorn would have been good here.
Or Briarhorn.
I grabbed that guy. Yeah, somebody got Slaughterhorn.
Yeah, both of them came around, and I know there were a couple Blood Rush creatures too, which I'm a fan of.
Oh no, I can't kill that.
Uh-oh.
We ran into this problem so many times. And I bend my Yawgmoth. Oh no.
Yep. You need the counters on that. Yep.
I didn't think I needed a Yawgmoth, but Brash Taunter is going to be my undoing, I think.
I mean, it bounces nicely off of a Gearhulk. Playing all the ramp.
I almost act with the birds to send a message, but
a classic.
Well,
I will block.
Okay.
Oh wait, I'll allow you to go to attack. Sorry.
I
Yeah,
was like, am I lagging? What's happening? Ooh.
Oh, what? Dang it. I F6.
that's my out.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
Misplaced. Guilty.
Hmm.
The Pilfer has not seen a lot of play since I put it in.
Pilfer's great.
I mean, yes. I mean, it just has not happened to have seen. There you go.
But he does so many things, and he's a rogue for all your party shenanigans.
Yep. 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 Floating a blue on principle. I like it.
Just attack for 2.
That flyer in there.
Brash.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
This is also, in fairness, this is the first time I'm seeing Brash Taunter roll out since I put it in. All the,
Oh, really? Yeah.
I mean, basically everything after Ikoria, I haven't been able to play test in paper, so it's
Sure.
up to whether or not it comes up in a draft. And just, I've drafted this 4 or 5 times online, but just haven't. Well, and like I mentioned earlier off the stream, I don't keep the MTGO one fully up to date. Just because acquiring the paper and the electronic assets is sometimes a bit much, but that was one that I saw that I was like, yeah, that's fun enough to go in. That's got to go in there. Ooh, gonna ping off the alloy mirror. Oh yeah.
Here. Some artifact and artifact action.
Yep. Just go around the taunter, right?
Yeah, well, let's see. You can lock a squirrel. 15, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exactly enough, actually. I think that's enough. I don't know. I haven't thought that hard, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Math is for blockers.
Math is for
Yeah.
blockers. Or blocker in the case of your little 1/1.
Mm-hmm. It's a powerful 1/1.
Bam.
Boop.
Ooh,
Well,
just a 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then the ballista.
Oh, was it best? It was one game.
Right.
That was on me.
Oh, that's okay.
That's all right.
Oh, you only get to play one game anyway. We'll play another game. Another!
Bring
And
me
this time
another.
You'll be on the play again, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
That's pretty close.
Was close.
I felt like
Yeah,
that was a tight game.
Drew lots of
Yeah.
Yeah,
lots of lands.
yeah.
Yeah.
if you, yeah. Well, if you do actually fight my guy, I can't do that attack because you could kill
Well,
me.
no, I lost because I'm F6 in my turn.
I think if you didn't F6, yeah, I think you would have won for sure. Mulligan.
Oh, sorry. Forgot I got to watch the actual game. Just sitting here looking at your avatars.
And I realized
There we
I kept a card that I can't cast.
Maybe you'll draw a land.
Maybe.
Nice. That's my, since I know probably your favorite thing, McDarby, is getting unsolicited requests for cards, but if it ever comes up, mine is improved creature lands for the few that are less popular.
Yeah, creature lands are a tough one because
Oh yeah.
they're really good.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Actually, I was a big fan of the Crawling Barrens. That was a really neat design.
Yeah,
I like
that
that
one
one a
is
lot.
sweet.
That went straight in. I don't think I even cut a card for that. I was just like, fuck it, I'm going one over. Um, I'm a fan of that one.
Yeah, that one
I
is
don't
sweet.
even honestly. Most of the creature lands I'm pretty happy with.
Mhm.
And obviously on principle I play all 10 in here. Because how do you not? Or I should say all 10 of the 2-color creature lands, since there's quite a few others. But
Yeah, yeah, creature lands are really sweet.
yep,
Yeah, anything that helps fight like mana screw, mana flood. So creature lands, kicker,
right.
cycling,
The
yada yada.
MDFCs.
Yeah, yeah, those Dave Steves, they're all just I love them so
Yep,
much.
yep, 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 yep. What I like about it here too is because the creature lands are so ubiquitous. I mean, it's easy to end up with 2 or even 3 in a deck,
Hmm.
maybe even more if you're lucky. Is you end up you just end up forgetting about them. So like sometimes a game is won on who's paying better attention to their board state, and just pulls a critter land up as a blocker when
Hmm.
someone thinks they have the win. Um, oh, nice.
Yeah, with my first set being like Zendikar, I was introduced
Mm,
like Celestial Colonnade and Creeping Tar Pit. That was the norm. Your
yeah,
lands were just really
you
good.
just always had them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and the new border on those, whew. Or the new version of those that came out with Zendikar Rising.
Oh yeah, that
Oh, my heart
borderless
almost stopped. Yeah,
extended art. Yeah, yep.
I
They're nice.
I don't pre-order much because usually the prices are better later. But I as soon as I saw those, I was like, stopped everything I was doing,
Hmm.
go drop an order on TCG Player. Those were those are sweet.
The Taunter has
Oh,
returned.
he's back.
Yeah.
At least it's early enough now.
Yes. Now I
Keep your Yagi. I thought an interesting design space in here was trying to get a little bit more into -1/-1 counters and stuff like the Taunter. Can only exist, I think, in an environment like that because otherwise it's just impenetrable.
hmm
Um, I mean, there's other ways to deal with it, but that's a big way. Um, so Rakdos in here definitely has good access to. Ooh, Soul Herder. That's gonna be
The
spicy.
combo.
It's gonna be spicy. Not too shabby. Blinking a Simulcrum.
Not so sad anymore.
Nope.
The value, it's too strong.
Too strong. Yeah, I will be honest, JJ. Until I cast Jace last game, I did not realize that I'll never be able to flashback something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just never went through my head, which
Nope.
is so awesome
Yep.
to like to know and learn.
Yep. Yeah. The bigger thing is he just ends up being really nicely defensive, and then he's a mill payoff. But
This is sweet. This is a combo.
oh yeah,
That's a really cool combo.
get a little ricochet there.
Choo-choo.
Yep, because
My
it's
Soul
creature
Herder.
only.
Unfortunately, I have a blue card.
Uh oh. Ooh. Have not
You
seen
put that
that.
in your deck. I don't even remember seeing that card.
Yeah, it's quite nimble.
Well, he has all the cards, so why play what you draft, right?
Exactly.
I've very rarely, if I maybe never seen that actually cycled for the effect. It's usually just
Yeah, yeah, it works really well in the original version of the Live the Dream Cube because it has flash,
yep,
it flies,
yep,
it can do all kinds of stuff, but
yep.
you can hit fetch lands, and that's not a really fun time.
That's a fun killer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I only have a couple fetches in here. I don't have the OG fetches. It's just the like Vistas type Evolving Wilds types. But that was an excellent use of it. So that's actually, I mean, that's reassuring to me to know that it can do some work.
Hmm. Oh, I should have blocked and sacked. Whoops. Oh well. I actually could have. Oh wow, I did. I just completely messed that up. Okay, I'm learning things.
Could have done the block flip.
And then I could have
And then
blocked
get a
the
soul
Hydra
herder.
the 3/3. Yeah.
Right. The soul herder trigger. See? All kinds of value on Jace.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't cosplay him for no reason, right? Like,
Right? Right?
I'll play this creature.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Look, it ends up in the creature spot. It's totally fine.
Sure, that's where it is.
That was a tough one. You each ended up with one Batterskull and Cultivator's Caravan for quite a while. I really wasn't sure.
How many are there? Yeah.
So 3, I believe. In this version, whoops, let me get this out of the way of the game.
I think Cultivator's Caravan is my favorite vehicle in the game.
I would not be hard pressed to be convinced to feel the same way. It's quite a good card and it fits nicely in here.
It feels as like a nice package.
Yep. Well, it's got enough utility that you don't feel like you're sitting on nothing if you don't crew it up. Doesn't feel like a waste, but it also, tapping for a man of any color on a 3-drop is not out of this world.
Yeah.
I mean, Alloy Mirror and Scuttlebutt are great. So like,
yeah, I'll take a Manolith most days depending on the power.
Yes. Also agreed on that. Yep.
It's Brian. He's your favorite guy.
I love that card.
You might love Brian.
Yeah.
I just like how
All
his
the
name
feels.
is just like a regular name, just Brian.
Just Brian. Yep. Brian, Bob, Steve, right? We got them all.
We need some gender diversity names, I think, in Magic.
That's
But back in the early days, it was more male presenting than nowadays, where it turns out we want to represent all of humanity. So
yes. Agreed. All right. So in actual creature feature in the full list, there are, I should know this off the top of my head since there's so few of them, and I just cut one, or I just planned to cut one today. There are currently 3 cards that don't actually have a creature type on them. Again, barring the lands. Cultivator's Caravan, Batterskull, and then Mobile Garrison is it's an accidental remnant. I had it in for some kind of cutesy little combo that I anticipated, and it really just never got there. It's really a waste of space. So that is coming out with the next. It's actually coming out for a Commander Legends card.
Nice.
But those are the only 2. And at one point I had Sky Sovereign, but it 100% was too strong.
Yeah, I could see that. Sky Sovereign is the mythic rare to showcase the new mechanic.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it was fun in a couple drafts, but if you don't end up with Goblin Crater Maker, it's a feels bad.
Crater Maker is sweet. Yeah,
it is sweet. But I'd rather use that on a Gearhulk or a Batterskull.
Yeah, the second line of Crater Maker was made so he could fight Ugin.
Sure. Yep. That makes sense. Yeah, and I think he even went in as hey, will this be, among some other solutions enough to combat Sky Sovereign? But it just ended up being too much feels bad, and it wasn't worth it. Batterskull, I still maintain, feels like a creature when it comes down. And then, like I said, the Caravan feels just like a sort of weird alloy mirror to me. So I'm pretty happy with those being the exceptions that prove the rule, as the saying goes.
I just want to be D-White with this card.
Oh man, that and the Hermit, dang, all the big token makers.
It's funny. I have all this stuff going on, but like Brash Taunter is just carrying his weight so much.
Yep.
Like I think I have to keep making Noxious Gearhulks because I will get damaged out. I just need to gain life as much as I can.
Yeah. Yep.
Brash Taunter actually blocks Batterskull really well.
Yeah, it does.
The life thing doesn't matter.
Yep. Wow, and it's target creature too, so he actually can fight his own stuff. Not currently relevant, but interesting.
Like I'm at a virtual 9 or virtual 8 right now.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
I thought you were going to target your own brash totter, D White.
Yep. No, he's got to get rid of your life engine, one way or the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
And at this point, he's better off fighting the Soul Herder. Super interesting.
Tricky.
This is the other thing I love about these good kind of deep cubes that let you get into the mid and late game is just having a lot of decisions to make.
For sure. Oh.
You draw a land anytime now.
Right?
I don't like that.
Oh, what's the bot command for this? Is that right? Nice. That worked.
Oops. Supposed to float a mana there.
Right.
Because you only do...
Oh my gosh, I love that you just targeted your own creature with that.
Yeah, I need to protect. I need to have brash totter do the least amount of damage as possible.
Yeah. Just wondering if I had asked you earlier today if you ever thought that you would jace your own Soul Herder. If you would not have thought I was just absolutely insane at the time.
Yeah. There's a MTG Remy does lots of awesome songs, and he's like Mindslaver myself, and I was like, oh,
beautiful. Yeah, I saw that one. He's gifted. He's uniquely talented.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just go through all of his videos like in one day. I'm like, all right, I'm good for like next week.
Right.
Well, you know, Foxes, I always want to work outside the rules, so I've got equipments and planeswalkers, like you say.
Yeah. Yep. That was really the fun of the cube. Was I told myself it was going to be all creatures when I started, and then the more I got into it, the more I was like, let's see what I can work in within the rules. Again, Batterskull being the exception, but like, what can we get in here? That's technically a creature. Like Startled Awake, when I found that, I was so delighted.
There he is. Oh, Manny.
Oh, Manny. Amazing. Get those flings. Yep, fling the Kavu. That makes sense.
It's like grab the cannoli, fling the Kavu.
Nice.
Not sure what else I have here. If any. Soul Herder is a good card.
Yeah, it sure is.
I think I like first picked it or second picked it or something. I don't know.
It was pretty early.
Please mill 5.
There you go.
I think the only out I have is McDarby's power going out.
It could happen.
Yeah, right.
I just want to keep milling you.
Mill is actually a viable main theme in this cube.
Oh, is it? Nice.
It is, yeah. Well, again, so like I'm way too proud of Startled Awake being in here, but it also was like, the OG like cheat card for the creature only cube. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna put it in, I can't have it not supported, right? It's just garbage
For
if
sure.
you're not actually aiming to get it back and do it again. So, we've got both the crabs in here, and we've got.
Isn't that so nice? You can say both the crabs.
Yeah,
now?
I know, it's fantastic. So it is an actual deck you can draft in here. Definitely
There's the Rage
tier
Brigade.
2. Definitely tier 2, but
All right. Well, GG's.
all right.
GG's.
Very good. Very good. 4-color not red making an excellent showing today.
Yeah. We call that old Witch Maw Nephilim in the biz. Witch Maw.
Yep.
Witch Maw non-creatures, I think was the deck theme.
Yeah.
In the creature cube.
Yes. I like that though. But that was the feel I was going for, when I first put it together. Like I said, stuff like Hostage Shaker, Ravenous Chupacabra, that stuff will keep me busy all day. So going for those, ETB triggers and on the field activate abilities. And the biggest surprise was that, I guess it shouldn't have been, but like I said, I have one person I play with a lot, and she's really, much like you two, we've kind of designed this cube, largely together. And when we started playing it, we were like, wow, this like, somewhere around turn 5, like the decisions just start exploding because, you've got a couple things in hand with ETBs, maybe one has flash, you've got a bunch of stuff on the board with activated abilities. Do you swing? Do you activate? The choices become complex, and that's what I really like about it. So
For sure, yeah, and it just changes the texture of all the cards in the cube. It's really exciting to think about.
Yes. My favorite example for
really...
that is Precursor Golem, which I think most people wouldn't give a second look, but someone had played it or played the cube with me and was like really surprised that Precursor Golem got a lot better, because there's few instants or sorceries now, so basically just get 3 golems for 5, with little downside.
9 power for 5 mana is nothing to
no
sneeze at.
Yeah, when the likelihood that someone can actually like take advantage of the downside is pretty low.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, again, I think we're bumping the ceiling of our planned time, and probably my very small viewership's attention span. But honestly, again, thank you guys both for coming on. I gushed about the cube, but I think seeing what I enjoy playing, you can understand why I had such a good time with the Live the Dream cube. I was a huge fan, and hopefully we'll see it again someday on MTGO, because
yeah, I'm glad you had fun with it, JJ. I remember D White had messaged me that you were going live because you were the first person to talk about the cube right when we revealed it. So I was just sitting there watching you talk about it.
Awesome.
I'm like, oh god,
Awesome.
I hope they like it, because you're like this is kind of a weird one. Like there's no 1-drops, so
Yeah. That was just for John. That was just for Cultic Cube. I know that bothers him. I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, but it was really cool seeing you talk about it, and
I'm so
appreciate
glad.
you playing it, streaming it, and
Yeah,
having us here on your show. It was really fun.
No,
And your
it's
cube
awesome.
makes me think about Magic in a different way, and that's what I love. So yeah, it's really sweet.
That makes me so happy.
Yeah.
I enjoy some good old straight up cube, but this has been my pet project for a long time. So I love, like, as you know, I love sharing it with other people. D-White, I wanted to ask real quick.
Yep.
You mentioned you have a paper cube, right, that you maintain as well?
Correct.
Is that anything special, or not anything special? Is it anything like weird like ours, or is that just a straight up powered cube, or what do you maintain?
So interesting. I guess the story. The current cubes I have a 93-94 cube.
Nice.
In paper, which thankfully I had purchased a few years ago.
Yeah.
Before the bubble that current
Yep.
old frame Magic is going through right now.
Right.
Honestly, I'm just such a sucker for nostalgia. So if I could, I would just keep it in a binder and just look at it. I just love the old arts.
Right.
Um, ironically, not as fun to play because cards back then were definitely not really designed to be drafted.
Right.
Right. But it's still fun. It's definitely a slower pace, but it does have power and getting to play those old cards. And my other cube is a white border cube, which, interesting story with that, was actually used to be owned by Craig Wesco.
That's cool.
Former Pro Tour player.
Right.
He was actually a mutual friend of mine. The person I was living with at the time. I moved out, and Craig actually moved in to my old room.
That's cool.
Craig was actually the person that kind of introduced me to Cube.
Nice.
He had multiple different levels of cubes, white border one being one of them, and I always explained to him how excited I was to play it, and like I said, nostalgia, getting to play with old cards that I grew up with playing. And so I had moved away, and a few years later, Craig is kind of, I don't know if you follow him, but it's kind of gone on to his true calling out on the West Coast. I think he's no longer playing professionally, but once he kind of left the game, I think he sold the stuff. And then in doing so, I just received a package in the mail randomly. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And yep, he just shipped me his whole cube.
Oh, that's crazy.
Just because he knew how much I loved playing it. And he said he felt better with somebody using it versus just selling it. And so
I would agree with that. Yeah.
And, hopefully one day I'll be able to pass that on as well to somebody else.
That's awesome. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. West Coast a good. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's fantastic. Awesome. Well, thank you again, D White. We'll sign off and trade those back in one hot second here. But thank you for everyone who tuned in to this very fun, very long stream. But I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did, and we will catch you on the next episode. Y'all take care. Where the hell is I don't even know where my OBS is.